Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Gaining Titan, and I just want to draw your attention to the Wargaming portal, the news for August, because there's some quite interesting stuff. First of all, Summer Games Alpha is coming to a close. It'll be finishing off Monday or early Tuesday morning. I think it's what 10 o'clock UST or something like that. And shortly after that, Summer Games Bravo will kick off. Now, I won't go into the details of Summer Games Bravo at this point. We've done it several times already in the past, and the format is unchanged as far as I can see. I just had a quick glance through it, and nothing seems to leap out as anyway different. I mean, the details of individual operations that you'll get over the course of the period might vary from one campaign to the next, but the basic structure of the thing is going to be very familiar with us at this point, and I don't think it's likely to change for the rest of the year. But you can refer back to my previous videos on the topic, or you can go to the website portal. I'll have a link to the general news site, and you can look at all the various individual details in there. Another thing of interest is that from the 2nd to the 5th, which is Monday, so probably ends early Monday, at least from my perspective. From the 2nd to the 5th is they're doing a celebratory 21 years of Wargaming celebration type stuff, so it's mostly discounts on this and that, and free XP cheaper, free XP to crew XP for free, I think, various other stuff like that. Russian discounts on Russian tanks, Tech Tree tanks to purchase, packages in the shop, and various other things. But the really interesting thing is they're doing another mechanics experiment. So a couple of weeks ago they did a mechanics experiment, well, a matchmaking mechanics experiment, where they changed the system for a week from to +1 matchmaking. So instead of having a tier 5 tank like we have here in a tier 7 battle, the tier 5 tank would only see tier 6. That's what they did previously, and I thought, actually, to be honest with you, that it worked quite well. I don't know what their data or statistics showed to them, but I thought overall it worked quite well. There was people complaining about aspects of it, particularly the really good players, because they couldn't carry a match on a 2 tiers down in a bottom tier light tank or something like that. You know, it did add a little bit of time. It added a noticeable amount of time. I think, I would estimate it, guesstimate, you would say, that it added about 40 seconds to the queue. But I didn't think the time was unacceptable, and I think maybe once or twice I might have had a less than 15 versus 15 game, whereas normally I would get probably a 15 versus 15 game at that time of the day. So what are they doing now? What they're doing now is they're running for a week of essentially little or no, they're changing the RNG. They're getting rid of it for penetration, and they're reducing it for damage. So, as far as I know, this won't affect dispersion. So, your gun's probability of dispersing from the target. So, you have guns with 0.6 accuracy. Let's say the KV2. The KV2 will be as random in terms of hitting stuff as it ever was, because you generally fire a KV2 around off in the general direction of where you're pointing, and sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. And okay, yeah, YouTube is full of 600 meter KV2 shots from across the map hitting the target, destroying it. But I can assure you that does not happen in every game. As a person who's played KV2s quite a bit, I don't think that side was going to be affected. What they're looking at is the penetration mechanic and the damage. So, and it won't affect splash damage. So, high explosive splash damage from KV2s or artillery won't be affected, because that is dependent on the distance from the blast center to the vehicle, and also modified by the thickness of armor. So they're the mods that affect splash damage, and they're not going to be changed. But hit through 4, if you fired around and they'd done all their sums and their calculations and they decided, yeah, the round hit, it didn't bounce, it has a potential to penetrate, they would then look at the penetration distance, they'd modify it by plus or minus 25%, and they would then look at the thickness of the armour and see does it penetrate. And it did or it didn't. And if it penetrated, they would then take the expected damage value and modify that by plus or minus 25% and apply the final figure as the damage. So if you had rounded it 100 millimeters of penetration, and that's what's calculated when it hit the target, then it might only do between 75 and 125 millimeters of penetration, depending on how the random factor worked out when it was applied. So your 100 millimeter round hitting the side of Matilda might miss sometimes, or might fail to penetrate because the minus 25% will bring it down below the 89 millimeters of armor or whatever it is I think that the Matilda has. Similarly, your 100 round average damage might only do 75 or 125 points of damage. So that side of it, what they're not getting rid of random completely there, but they're reducing it to 10%. So now your 100 points of damage round will do between 90 and 110, or your 240 say medium tank gun tier 8 whatever would be doing between 216 and 264, something along those lines. So you'll have less variability in damage, and if you manage to land the shot on target, your pen is based off your penetration value. But the UI won't be modified to reflect that, so the UI will still show more or less what it currently shows. And it'll only tell you about what the outer plate is anyway. So if you have, you're looking at something with 20 millimeters of spaced armor, your UI will tell you that you've 100% penetration shot, but you will penetrate the 25 millimeters of spaced armor, but the other 75 millimeters behind it you might not penetrate. That's not the way it's, that side of it's not going to be reflected. But it'll be very interesting to see how this works out. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a share and a like. Feel free to comment. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.